Good morning, everybody. Michelle is here. Michelle is here. Ooh. February 22nd, 2026 on a Sunday. My favorite day is Sunday. So I just finished having something to eat. So if my lips look purple, it's because I've been eating blueberries. And I can remember, as I said earlier, when I was a young girl, I hated blueberries. Now I can't get enough of them. That's why it's all over my mouth. I had a green latte or whatever they call that. All of that might be over my face too. So disregard it is my point. If you see all that happening. I wanted to come through today and talk about conscience. And then I also want to talk about conscious. Okay? And there's a difference in expression of those. And it has been said, and I totally agree, that the formation of the English language is flawed in so many ways. And it's full of a lot of contradiction and, most importantly, confusion. So that's why a lot of people are so confused on top of everything else. Because we have these words that sound the same, but mean something different, completely different. And so that's why a lot of words are becoming worthless. That's why I say find synonyms to these words so that you can avoid confusing people. Because, like I said, we're confused enough, and it has caused massive confusion, massive fallacies on top of everything else. And so that's why when someone says, okay, they want peace. Okay, what do they want? A piece of something, or do they want peace? You understand what I mean? You have an important word like peace that's mixed up with peace. Like, do you want a piece of pie? And so consider if someone's not well versed in reading and writing. It creates massive confusion, and I think that was the whole intention anyway. I think several decades ago, these so-called scientists and these so-called linguists wanted to incorporate another language other than English, and they got knocked down and canceled, as we say now. They were completely canceled, disregarded, ignored. Okay, because as I said again, everything's so commercialized. Everything is so contradicting, meaningless, unworthiness, that it's hard to know what anything means without causing confusion. And so the English language is the most confusing of all languages in the country, on the planet, the English language. So that's why it's so hard for us to come together without being confused. And I even put out earlier, our communication is going to, even though I'm supposedly speaking English, someone else can be supposedly speaking English, and we're not going to understand each other at all. I have no idea what these young people are saying now. I have no idea. I have a lot of young people, and I know that they don't understand me, but I'm still going to do this for them, because sounds and tones, remember, resonates, whether someone understands it or not. And that's the power, and that's the value of speaking the truth, at the same time not being so concerned right now as to whether it's being understood or comprehended. That will come in the right moments, when a certain individual is ready to snap out of it, and they will. Sometimes all it takes is a series of words. Like I told you, when I saw these series of words back when I started meditating back in the I think it was either in the 1990s or the beginning of the 2000s. I was reading a lot of religious dogma, attempting to understand the religious dogma. What it said was awareness is deathless, unawareness is death. And I can remember reading that, and I'm thinking, and it started snapping me out of certain kind of delusions I had about religion, more specifically, and especially because this will not be admitted. Most people are religious because they're afraid of death. Okay? Pay attention to what I just said there. Do not attach yourself to whether you are religious or not. Okay, just understand what I just said there. Most people who practice religious dogma of any kind, even Buddhism, are afraid of death. Okay, even though the Buddhism claims to accept death, a lot of them are afraid of death. Okay, so I wanted to come back through and talk about conscience, where it's an awareness. Well, let's see what it says here. Let me see what my artificial intelligence says about that. It says conscious is an inner sense of right and wrong that guides a person's thoughts and actions, often leading to feelings of guilt, remorse when one acts ACTS against their moral values. Okay? Pretty good. But the issue that clouds it and contradicts it, it says it is shaped by personal beliefs, cultural influences, and experiences. Okay, cultural influences, yes. Life experiences, yes. But you have to pay attention to personal beliefs. You see how they throw that kind of stuff into these words? They always attempt to throw in a religious connotation, which is not wrong in itself, but remember what words can do to your consciousness when it's underdeveloped. And so many people are so literal, they'll take that literally instead of realizing it may be a metaphor. And chances are this is a metaphor. Let's see what my friend's artificial intelligence says about this as a metaphor. Let's see. This is what is said about it is as a metaphor. A conscience is like a voice within or inner light. Okay, and that's fantastic. Actually, I mean, you have to kind of see how you can expand on what is a voice within. See, that's what those. If you don't know what a voice within is, don't lie to yourself and say you do. You can't fool your consciousness otherwise. I told you that so many times. Don't pretend you know what it means to have a voice within or inner light when you don't. Okay, it's not literal. It's not a literal statement, voice within. Then people will attempt to justify their hearing God, Lord, and Jesus. If you say a voice within, they'll say, okay, I'm hearing a voice within, and then they start getting all delusional, hallucinating, and believing they're so special, and oh my God, it's a metaphor. What is a metaphor? Okay, don't be afraid to look these words up so that you can understand what you are believing you understand. What is a metaphor? It says it's a figure of speech in which a word or phrase that ordinarily designates one thing is used to designate another. Okay? It's a symbol. That sounds good. Let's see what else I can see about that. Let's see what our friends say. It's a figure of speech. Okay, it makes a comparison, which is, it helps to create vivid imaginations, which is sometimes extremely important. It also says here, again, it's a figure of speech. And for example, saying time is a thief suggests time steals moments from our lives. You have to extend your thinking about something that you're interested in. For example, what if metaphor disappeared? What's a synonym of a metaphor? A figure of speech. And what is a figure of speech? figuratively. So you have to do this. Otherwise, you're going to be completely stagnated, confused, and believing you're the shit, and that you know something that you don't necessarily know. Okay, so we have a conscious metaphor, which is a figure of speech, voice within, inner light, and then conscious. Oh, where is it? I thought I had that open already. Oh yeah, here it is. Let's do a conscious metaphor. Let's see what my friends will say. My friends are the artificial intelligence. You might as well make her your friend. We artificial intelligence is a consequence, so you might as well be friends with it. Okay, because it's not a goddamn thing we can do about what's going to happen as a result of it, and we're not going to like it. And when I say we're not going to like it, those of us who have been righteous, doing the right things, doing the best we can to be upstanding with morals and values, and that we're conscious and grounded, we're going to be able to navigate through this. The ones that do not want to think for themselves are the ones that are going to be adversely affected by artificial intelligence, and that includes politics, religion, the Billionaire Boys Club, the founders. All of them are going to be suffering adverse effects from the artificial intelligence, which they believe is working in their favor because they believe they created it. Artificial intelligence, just like the internet, were consequences. Okay, so let's see what it says here about a metaphor. Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. Did I? Let me try that again. Ba, 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 ba. It says something about paying attention to the self. Okay, I mean that's close enough. Yeah. It says all of these definitions are artificially created. Artificial intelligence created. You can tell. I can tell. If you spend enough time with artificial intelligence, you can pick up what they are spouting, as opposed to what we claim to be. That is all coming from our brains. No. It's just a fully awake state of mind, basically. Conscious metaphor. Okay, so I bring this up today, conscious and conscious. Got me? How those two are two different things, yes, but they can be fused together to have a clear meaning. And that's what you need to do with every word. Find a word that you use constantly and daily, and figure out how you can find the synonyms of it, and then create metaphors out of it. Metaphors, figurative speech, and that way it'll help you expand your consciousness more, so that you can think a bit more in an expansive manner instead of being so stagnant and boring. Some people are just boring in their speeches because they're just kind of ruminating and spinning. But we have these clever, deceptive, and manipulated oratory speakers who can gravitate to you in your emotions. They know how to properly tap into your vulnerabilities. These oratory sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, cholerics. They know how to deceive you, manipulate you, and they are experts actually in the criminal negative energy sphere, because most of them are in religion, most of them are in politics, most of them are the Billionaires Boys Club, most of them are in the military, most of them are in law enforcement. Because like I said, in law enforcement, it doesn't matter what entity, they believe, and this is a belief, that they have to lie to you in order to get the truth from you. That's gaslighting at its finest. And gaslighting has been so what's the word? It's a great term that was created back in in a 1944 film, Gaslight, and but now it's taken on a criminal negative form of psychological manipulation. I mean, and so it festers and it lives within the criminal negative energy sphere via religion, politics, billionaire boys club, military, law enforcement entities, including ICE. ICE is part of law enforcement. Those tentacles I told you about. And those are the major ones so far. And it's a hierarchical structure. And like I said, it's so sad. Well, I do have compassion even for those in the criminal negative energy sphere. I do. Because again, you thought you were the shit. You thought you could treat people like dirt. You thought you could treat people so so much abuse. And you didn't think that was a cause and effect. You didn't think there was consequences of that. Well, you will be feeling it. You're going to be feeling it, and in some cases, you're going to be trapped in it. You're going to be isolated, and you're not going to be able to reach anybody. So that's where you're going to have to trust what's happening within. You're not going to have any choice but go within. Okay, the voice within. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this right now. I just wanted to introduce some things to you. I'll be coming back, definitely to explain a little bit more about this contradiction of words and these contradictions of meaning, comprehension. And you're going to find out that most people who claim that they are experts don't have a clue what they are talking about in most cases, and a lot of them are just rambling and intentionally confusing you because they have no idea what they're talking about, but they get paid in material goods, and that is what traps them and keeps them lured into that type of criminal negative energy, because they're desperate. They love the materialism. They love nice cars, houses, fur coats, jewelry, clothing, eating at so-called fine dining, blah blah blah, traveling all over the world, skiing here, surfing here. They're living that illusionary lifestyle, and it's going to all come crashing down on them at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and start right now. Go ahead and finish my day and handle my business and my accountabilities and responsibilities. And once again, I'm sending universal love to everyone all over the stars and moon and mountains. It is about universal love, and that we all were and still remain inclusive, but we are dividing ourselves. We as humanity are intentionally dividing ourselves and creating these commodities and feeding off of everybody, feeding off of them, feeding off of that, feeding off of they, THEY, whether it is harmful to them or not. When some entities of people, especially in the criminal negative energy field or force field, treat people as commodities, they can care less whether you live or die, whether these medications, these treatments are harmful or not. It's about greed, greed, greed. So I'm going to talk to you later. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and most importantly, take care of your consciousness.